From a tech perspective, the big story about Dropbox over the last year, although you guys have been working on it longer, was the move off of Amazon Web Services to build your own network. Was this mostly driven by, from your perspective, technical needs and maybe even not being, having kind of a master up in Seattle, or was it an economic decision for you guys?
Well, I think a lot of it was, well, this is a big bet we placed because we're one of the largest cloud services in the world. Amazon's been a great partner for us. We're still a customer
right?
there.
And you still use them in Europe, right?
Yeah. No. So we still use Amazon for things for a bunch of things. But we went from zero a couple years ago to standing up one of the largest cloud infrastructures in the world, and then we had this pretty wild migration challenge where we had to get several hundred petabytes of data from Amazon onto our servers. Inside Dropbox, we talk about it's like changing the engines on a jet without any of the in flight without any of the passengers noticing. And so it cost us part of it, but really just flexibility, being able to have whole control over the stack, being able to build a more integrated experience. As you think about how the experience will evolve, and there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon in compute and machine learning and so on, we have total control over our stack.
Given the amount you did invest in it, at what point do you start making your money back on this?
Well, I think the proof is in the numbers. I mean, last month we announced that we were free cash flow positive, which is a really exciting milestone for us. And again, another way that we.
But you might have gotten there faster if you hadn't spent how much?
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's a big investment. Yeah, it was a many hundreds of $1 million investment. But that's what we're planning for the really long term, and we thought this was a really foundational thing for us. And and we're also a little unusual. I mean, most companies are not this kind of scale where we are. Again, Amazon's been a great partner, but we found that we could both have more, because of the scale we are, there is a cost advantage, and there's a flexibility we have by building it all, or by moving a lot of it in-house.
Since you do still use AWS in Europe, when do you plan to move off that, or do you plan to move off that?
So we're just going to AWS in Europe to satisfy mostly the needs of larger business customers who wish to keep their data domiciled in Europe.
Yeah.
And we expect that that'll work quite well, so we don't have any plans to change from that.
We've always had like a hybrid infrastructure, and we have flexibility to dial it up or down in one direction or the other.
Is there a point, and I understand the way you guys have done this, you said you want to have full control of the stack, and this helps you on a technology flexibility for Dropbox. Is there any plan at any point that you guys, not that you'll become a direct rival to, say, an AWS or a Google Cloud, but that you guys will start offering your network to other companies to build on?
Well, I think certainly we want to, we have hundreds of thousands of developers on our platform. We enable all kinds of different apps to plug into Dropbox, and that'll continue, and we'll continue to invest in the platform. But some of the benefit of being able to operate a lot or own the whole stack ourselves is we have a lot of projects which are pretty ambitious. So we announced one called Project Infinite, where you can have an infinite-sized Dropbox, never run out of space. This is critical, especially in a larger company where you have many, terabytes of information, but if you got a MacBook with 128 gig SSD, something's got to give, and we'll be the first to make that really work.
So we shouldn't expect that in 2 years, in 5 years, that you're going to see companies basically using Dropbox's network like they currently use Amazon's.
We're not going after the commodity part of the public cloud, so we're not going to sell. We're certainly not in the business of selling storage or cheap space.